There were freaking strands of hair flying in the air. All this money, all this freaking money cannot buy me happiness. Because I did something terribly wrong. So I'll give it all away on my Instagram. It's a 10,000 euros giveaway. I want a fresh start. I just need it. I need a fresh start because, as I said,
Initiating.
I did something really horrible. It was not on purpose, and you have to believe me. You just have to believe me. Today I just feel like telling stories, telling all those horrible stories. It's already pretty late, so this will definitely be the last one. But yeah, this one will definitely shock you, so prepare yourself. It all started when I finished my school, mechanical engineering if you're interested, and after that is what they call social... Jesus, I have no idea what they call it. In Austria, either you go to the military or you go to the social helpers, I don't know. The military takes you 6 months to complete and this other thing takes you 9 months. So I was this social worker dude, I don't know. Who cares? So I started to work at a asylum for refugees, a asylum home. It was a pretty big home. There were, if I'm correct, like 30 flats or something like that, around 150 guys in there in this building. It was fairly mixed up from all over the world. There were a few family flats and a few mixed flats, basically. There were a lot of black dudes and a lot of Afghanistan and Syria, not so much back then, I think, but I can't really differentiate them. Yeah, and it wasn't too bad, actually. It was, you know, it was dirty, it was scummy, it was low pay. But, you know, I was thinking, yo, I'm doing something good, so let's go for it, let's do this. And I also made a lot of friends, and you know, back then I was young and stupid. One of our duties was to kind of renovate the rooms, especially the African dudes. Like it is, but they are like freaking messy. It's ridiculous. So every like 3 to 4 months we had to repaint the walls and we had to redo the floor. We did not have to clean like toilets and stuff, but it was still freaking gross. And when we did our work, you know, we were usually on our own. Like there were usually 2 guys. It was me and another dude. Like we were 3 guys in total. One was from Monday to Friday. He was a driver, and 2 exchangeable dudes, and I was one of the exchangeables. And usually we were, you know, on our own. We had no supervision or something like that. So when we when we did our work, you know, they started talking to us, and it was funny. They told us jokes, like crazy stories what they did back then, you know, over there, literally like killing people and stuff like that. It was, you know, and these guys, you know, in the same room, and oh my god, yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was thrilling, and you know, they sold weed. I heard stories like 5 years ago, before I started there. There were so many freaking drugs, like all sorts of drugs, but now it kind of died down and there is only, you know, they only sell weed. It's not like a crazy offense. It's still illegal, but you know, it's not like in the USA, for example. Usually every month one of their rooms got swatted, but you know, they had their skills and tactics. They just dropped the weed down where the water pipes ran along. So I remember this one day, there was a huge, like it was like in a sock and it was stuffed with weed. It was like easily 1 kilogram. And it was like, man, I'm getting sidetracked, but this, like, there are so many good stories. I should actually not get too happy about this because it's a really crazy story. But there was like, room 6 was our room, like for the lunch breaks and stuff like that. We slept in this room, like not over the night, but you know, during the breaks. And it got stuck like around like 2 meters below our room 6, and we tried, you know, to pull it up with, you know, like with bent metal rods and tried to get it, but we did not make it, right? Totally not. So yeah, a lot of weed and also a lot of alcohol, and every time we did something for them, they were grateful in, you know, they were grateful and they shared their stuff with us. So yeah, It was fun. It was fun. And you know, we actually became friends, more or less. Drinking buddies or, you know, weed buddies. So we started to hang out and, you know, I started visiting them, you know, just to have a good time. They have really good prices and stuff. That was a fun part, more or less. Now it's getting dark. So, yeah. Where should I freaking start? I think literally on the first day, they said something about, yo, dude, like, can you bring us girls? Bring some girls here. Literally on the freaking first day. I didn't think too much about it, and this was a recurring question. And on one day they offered me a lot of weed if I would, you know, bring them a girl. They said, you know, we will have a massive party going on. That was not allowed, by the way, but you know, it happened anyways. Just bring over a girl and we will have some fun. You know, we will all smoke and stuff. And you know, they made like kind of crazy promises and I was like, oh my god, I gotta bring a girl. And again, I was young and stupid. This is probably like 6 years ago, maybe like 7, 8. So I actually tried doing just that. Every time I went partying, I was like, yo, I know these guys, they have a lot of weed and you know, there are so many guys who love weed. I asked a lot of girls, but when I told them about the place, you know, yeah, no one came except this one stupid girl. Not too far from this asylum, there's a club. Well, I should probably not, you know, tell you about specific names, but you know, it was like easily to reach by foot. Just had to power my phone. So I actually made it. I actually found a girl that would come with me. So I brought her to this room. Oh my god. There is something else that I need to tell you so that everything makes sense. Obviously, there is no way to just go in and out of an asylum, you know, just like that. On business days, there are, you know, there is a supervisor. It was oh my god, let's just skip that. Usually there were actually 2 supervisors and 2, you know, social workers. And during the night there was a security guard. But on the weekends, well, there was a security guard as well. Really low paid, like literally like 3 euros per hour. So he didn't really care too much and he was getting wasted with all the other guys as well. And pretty much every weekend he was like in there almost passing out, freaking drowsing on his foldable bed. Like it was a really small foldable bed and he was always like dead. So that wasn't a problem either. The doors are usually, you know, they are locked. So you need to ring and the security guard will open the door. But, you know, you can just put something in there like a small stone. You know, that just was no problem whatsoever. It never was a problem for the guys to get in and out. So yeah, I brought this freaking girl with me. There is this street and there is this asylum and there are hundreds of windows. And someone is always watching. So they already saw me coming, they already knew what will happen. At least that's what I assume. Well, I'm pretty sure about that. So when I brought her up, I didn't even have to know. We went up the stairs and the door opened like magically, right? There was one dude and he greeted us like super nice. And on this floor, you know, you could pretty much smell the weed. Really good. So she was already getting excited. He led us into the room, into the flat. And now I need to explain something else. So these flats, they have an entrance area, maybe like 5 square meters. It's really, really tiny flats. It's ridiculous. And in one flat are usually 5 to 6 guys. So there is this entrance area, then there is a small toilet area, and then there is one living room, like it's a big living room. And then there is also another smaller one. In this one are 4 beds and in the other one are 2 beds. Like the big one is like maybe like, it could be like 14, 16 square meters, something like that. And the other one is like 10 square meters top. So it's a small room. So we went in there. There was only one other guy. It was so weird because it was like, this freaking room was empty. Usually there are tables and, you know, messed up chairs, makeshift, whatever. But, you know, it was just freaking empty. And that was already like, what? When we got in there, the door behind us closed. And as this guy locked the door, the other guy closed, you know, the second door, entrance, door, main living room. And there's another door to this other smaller living room. And at the very moment that he closed his door, the other door opened. And I will never forget this moment in my life. There were easily 10 guys in this freaking small room, crammed, waiting. Don't saying a freaking single word, like just waiting. And they just poured out and all hell broke loose. I was freaking frozen in place. They didn't care too much about me. Like, I was like, thankfully. She started screaming, but only like a few seconds. And then she got grabbed and, you know, silenced. I don't know how to say that, but like someone always made sure to keep her mouth shut, basically. It unfolded pretty quickly. I was pretty much at the wall, like with my back to the wall. And I was just like stuck. And she was in the middle of this freaking room. There was just a super dim light, you know, obviously. Yeah, and she was like, she just couldn't do anything whatsoever. Like, they surrounded her like wild animals, ripped off her clothes. This went faster than her screaming was silenced. It literally took like seconds. She was stripped naked. Like, they were pulling on her arms, on her legs, like, as far as I could see, like, it was crazy. Yeah, and it didn't take too long before the first guys got naked, and they just did not give a damn whatsoever. They just stripped naked as well. Yo, and I don't even remember how long this took. At least an hour. It was just crazy. I more or less went from a standing position to a, you know, somewhat sitting position, and I was like that. More or less. Pretty much like that. I had no clue what to do. I was, you know, I was a bit tipsy as well. All that I remember was like up to a standing position, back to the ground, up to a standing position, back to the ground, and like all these freaking, like, there were freaking strands of hair flying in the air. And the smell was also freaking disgusting. And I actually don't really know what happened later on, because someone just escorted me out and said, good job, and that's it. I don't even remember the rest of the evening. That's something that I never told anyone, literally no single one. I have never spoken a single word about this. Sometimes when I think about it, I start to cry. Sometimes I start to laugh. This was like, the only way I can explain this to me is like, this was such a crazy event. Things like this don't happen in Austria. This is so different to what I'm usually used to in my life, you know, to my experiences. Like, this was something completely different. It's like, I wasn't even able to handle this, like, whatsoever. No freaking way for me to compute this. I was like, my brain just froze. I also remember her screaming when they, you know, when they started to use like her outer hole, basically. I think when that happened, she bit someone, something like that. It was like, she wasn't the only one screaming. It looked to me like there was not a single hole that was left untouched, so they made sure to, yeah, to deliver. It's like a numb feeling that I'm feeling. It's like nothingness. Yeah, I think I will just end it here because I don't have much more to say, except that just happened. It was like, just freaking happened. Well, thanks for listening, I guess. I will see you next time.